Welcome to the debate. This special topic is an idea for Hot 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 Hut, and the concept is a design by Hot Hot Hut Hut. So imagine walking down a busy street in a major city, maybe 30 years ago.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
You hear this heavy, kind of unpolished bass thumping from a basement. You walk down these dark, sticky stairs and find a sweaty, loud indie rock band pouring their hearts out to a small crowd.
Right.
I mean, they are playing instruments they barely know how to tune, but the raw energy is just undeniable.
Yeah, that was the reality of the underground scene back then. It was messy, it was completely authentic, and, well, it existed totally outside the rules of normal society.
Exactly. But today, if you walk down those exact same stairs, the room is glowing with bright white clinical lights.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Instead of a wooden stage, there are shiny rows of face masks, lip gloss, and skincare products. The music is a perfectly mixed K-pop playlist coming from, expensive, hidden speakers.
That is quite the change.
It really is. Today, we are traveling to Hongdae. This is one of Seoul's most loved spots for international visitors, famous worldwide for its fresh and lively trends.
Definitely.
But the story of Hongdae brings up a massive question for our discussion today. Is Hongdae still a genuine alternative cultural and arts haven? Or has it simply become a highly commercialized, mainstream tourist playground?
That's the big question.
Right. And I argue that Hongdae remains an authentic center for youth culture and street arts. I believe it still holds tightly to its indie roots.
Well, and I argue the opposite. I argue that Hongdae has transformed into a manufactured commercial space. It's focused on shopping, food, and mainstream trends rather than actual alternative art.
Okay, so to understand this, we really have to look at the history of the area first.
Sure.
Back in the 1990s, Hongdae started as a true haven for indie bands. It was a place where young artists built their own underground club culture, right?
Right, away from the big TV networks.
Exactly. They wanted to make their own rules. And my position is that this raw spirit hasn't disappeared. It has just changed its shape. You can see this clearly in the Red Road zone today.
The Red Road, right.
Yeah, it's this designated area where buskers and street performers bring just this amazing raw energy to the streets, from late afternoon until late evening. It functions as a living, breathing stage.
Uh-huh.
For a teenager who wants to perform but doesn't have the backing of $1 million entertainment company, the Red Road is their only accessible platform. It is a modern form of young artists carving out their own space.
You call it a platform for raw creativity, but, well, let's look at the actual mechanics of those street performances.
Okay, let's look at them.
In the 1990s, the artists in Hongdae were actively rebelling against the mainstream music industry. Today, what are the buskers on the Red Road actually performing?
Mostly dance covers and hip-hop sets.
Right, they are almost exclusively doing dance covers of the biggest, most heavily produced K-pop groups in the world.
What?
They are mimicking the mainstream, not challenging it. The neighborhood has shifted from producing original culture to simply echoing mass media. It feels much more like a scheduled tourist show.
But taking something mass-produced and interpreting it on a public street is a form of grassroots culture. I mean, these kids are bringing their own speakers, practicing together for months.
Sure, they practice.
And performing for a live crowd without asking anyone for an admission fee. They are taking global pop music and grounding it in a local physical space. That community-building energy is exactly what an arts haven is supposed to have.
I just don't see it that way, primarily because of how structured the whole operation has become. This isn't spontaneous street art.
How so?
Well, the Red Road performances are permitted by the city. Because of noise rules, the music has to stop exactly at 10 p.m.
Right, that's true.
The spaces are neatly drawn out. It operates like a scheduled open-air talent show. A true underground arts scene doesn't politely pack up its bags and go home just because the city clock strikes 10.
Look, if you are listening to this and thinking, well, the rules have gotten stricter, you aren't wrong, but cities have to grow and populations get denser.
Yeah, but
The fact that the city actually protects the space for street performers shows that the cultural identity of Hongdae is still respected. Let's look at how Hongdae compares to other famous arts districts, like London's Camden Town.
okay, Camden Town is an interesting comparison.
Right? Camden Town is famous for mixing green spaces, cozy cafes, and live jazz bars. Hongdae shares that exact same vibe. We have the Gyeongui Line Forest Park.
The park built over the old train tracks.
Exactly. It's a massive public green space. You have people gathering there, sketching, walking dogs, hanging out outside cafes. It provides a free physical space where culture can naturally grow. So let me ask you this. Doesn't the presence of daily pop-up stores and exhibitions prove it is a globally recognized cultural district?
Actually, you bringing up Camden Town is the perfect example of my point.
Wait, really? How?
Think about what happened to Camden Town. It started as a punk underground area. Then it became famous. Once it became famous, the rents skyrocketed.
Sure, rent goes up.
The big corporate brands moved in, and the original, weird, unique artists were financially forced out. That exact mechanism is what has hollowed out Hongdae.
I wouldn't say hollowed out.
You point to the park, but look at what surrounds that park. The real estate economics tell a completely different story. The culture is now based entirely on novelty consumption.
Okay, explain what you mean by novelty consumption, because having global brands set up creative pop-up shops isn't inherently a bad thing.
Novelty consumption means the main activity is buying whatever is brand new today, taking a picture with it, and forgetting about it tomorrow. Let me give you the clearest example of what Hongdae has become. The CU Ramyun Library.
Oh, the Ramyun Library is incredibly popular right now.
It is massively popular, and it perfectly illustrates my point. For our listeners who haven't seen it, this is a convenience store with over 200 kinds of instant noodles.
Lined up like books on a shelf.
Right, displayed on wooden shelves like books. You pick your noodles, buy them, and cook them on the spot. Now, from a business view, why does this exist?
Because it's fun?
Because real estate prices in Hongdae are so high, businesses can no longer survive by offering slow, underground experiences. An indie rock club where 50 people nurse a cheap beer for 3 hours cannot pay the rent.
Well, that's true in any major city.
But a wall of instant noodles, that generates huge turnover. People come in, buy a cheap novelty item, film a quick video, and leave in 15 minutes. When a ramen shop is a main cultural landmark, the neighborhood has shifted from an arts district to a viral food theme park.
I think you are framing the Ramyun Library purely as a real estate survival tactic, which is a bit cynical. You are unfairly separating food from culture.
Am I?
Yes. Food and trends are vital pieces of authentic Korean street culture. The food scene in Hongdae brings a neighborhood to life. We're talking about restaurants serving amazing Korean pork belly.
Oh, the food is delicious. I won't argue there.
And spots where young people create their own custom tteokbokki, mixing spicy sauces and different rice cakes. The sheer density of crowds gathering at these places proves they operate as vital social hubs.
Social hubs, maybe?
Eating these meals, sharing ideas, experiencing the high energy that is the cultural experience in itself. Crispy Korean fried chicken is just as much a part of modern culture as a rock song.
I agree. The food is amazing, and the energy is high. But this makes Hongdae a place for consumers rather than creators.
What do you mean?
That is the core difference between the Hongdae of the past and the Hongdae of today. The original artists in the 90s went to Hongdae to make things. They made music, they painted, they designed their own weird clothes from scratch.
Right.
Today's visitors go to Hongdae simply to consume what massive corporations have already created for them. They consume the 200 types of noodles, they consume the fried chicken. Buying a product is just fundamentally different from creating art.
Okay, I understand the distinction you are making between creating and consuming. But I argue that for today's youth, consumption is a form of creation.
How is buying something a form of creation?
Let's call it curated rebellion. In the past, you rebelled by making loud noise in a basement. Today, youth express their alternative identity by picking and choosing elements from a massive global marketplace.
I don't know about that.
Hear me out. Look at the personal color analysis studios everywhere in Hongdae. Young people go there to figure out exactly which color palettes match their skin tone and personality.
Right, the color matching spots.
Yeah. When they use that information to buy specific clothes and craft a highly unique personal style, they are exploring their own identity. They are using the stores as their paint palette. The street is their runway. They are not just passive buyers, they are actively designing themselves.
Curating a personal brand from a list of corporate options is not rebellion.
Why not?
Because it is exactly what those corporations want you to do. When you walk into the massive olive-young Hongdae town, which is basically a gigantic testing ground for cosmetics, you are not challenging society.
You are expressing yourself, though.
You are participating in mainstream beauty standards. You are spending money to look perfectly polished for a social media photo. A true arts haven is supposed to be slightly uncomfortable. It is supposed to challenge your worldview.
Does it have to be uncomfortable to be art?
I think so. When I walk through Hongdae today, I am visually stimulated, sure. I am never bored, but I am rarely challenged. The street performers want you to smile, so they play K-pop hits. The stores want you to buy things, so they make everything look flawless. It is a brilliant, highly successful commercial zone, but it lacks the friction required to produce real art.
Well, friction isn't the only way art is made. Sometimes art is made through connection and shared enthusiasm.
Go on.
Think about the young creators filming dance videos on the Red Road. They're using Hongdae as a physical studio for digital art. Without the backdrop of the busy streets, the neon signs, and the crowds eating street food, those videos wouldn't have the same magic.
That's true. The background matters.
Right. The neighborhood itself provides the canvas. If the people stopped coming to eat, shop, and hang out, the street performers would just be dancing for an empty sidewalk. The commerce and the culture feed each other.
They do feed each other, but the balance of power has shifted completely.
How do you mean?
In the beginning, the commerce was there to support the artists. You had cheap food stalls to feed the broke musicians. Now, the art, like the sanitized busking, is just there to attract foot traffic for the massive retail stores.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
The art has become a marketing tool for the commerce. When safety, cleanliness, and commercial appeal become the main priorities of a neighborhood, the underground spirit is officially dead.
The underground spirit you were describing belonged to a specific generation, though. The young people who started the indie scene in the 1990s are now in their 50s.
Right.
We cannot expect today's teenagers to express themselves the exact same way their parents did. Today's youth culture is heavily visual and digital. It is about speed, trends, and aesthetics.
Yes, it is. Very fast.
So Hongdae is simply reflecting what modern youth actually care about. If it forced everyone to still act like 1990s grunge rockers, it would become a museum, not a living cultural haven.
I am definitely not asking it to be a museum. I am pointing out that the current culture of Hongdae is driven by high-speed consumerism, not by artistic expression.
Okay.
When a neighborhood's identity is defined by how fast it can cycle through pop-up shops and viral food crazes, it stops being a place where lasting culture is built. It becomes a place where trends are briefly consumed and then just thrown away.
Well, we have explored some pretty deep ideas today, from real estate pressures to how young people express themselves. To make sure our listeners walk away with a clear picture, let's summarize our core argument simply.
Sounds good?
My position remains that Hongdae is a genuine modern cultural and arts haven. While the methods of expression have changed from underground rock to digital-friendly street dance and curated fashion, the heart is the same.
Right.
Hongdae still provides a vital physical space like the Red Road and the Gyeongui Line Forest Park where youth can gather, share their energy, and play with their identities. The fact that it includes modern trends and food culture doesn't erase its artistic value. It just proves Hongdae is a living, changing community.
And my summary is that Hongdae has changed from an underground indie music spot into a giant, fun shopping and food center. Driven by high rents, the neighborhood is shifted toward novelty consumption.
Right. The real estate argument.
Exactly. The major landmarks are no longer indie clubs, but massive cosmetic stores and viral spots like the 200-noodle ramen library. The activities happening there are mainstream commercial behaviors, not alternative art. Hongdae is a super successful entertainment district, but it has lost its underground artistic soul.
Well, even with our fundamental disagreement on what art means today, there is one undeniable fact about Hongdae that we both recognize.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether you view it as an indie youth haven or a highly polished commercial playground, the sheer excitement and energy of the area is extraordinary.
I don't disagree with that at all. The speed at which Hongdae reinvents itself is just fascinating to watch. You can walk down a main street, leave for a month, and come back to find completely different stores, different foods, and different visual trends.
The city never looks the same twice.
No, it really doesn't. The physical landscape is relentlessly dynamic.
It is a neighborhood that refuses to stand still. So we are going to leave the final judgment up to you, the listener. The next time you find yourself in Seoul, take the subway to Hongdae, walk along the Red Road, watch the crowds gathering around the performers, and look at the massive retail spaces towering above them.
And look closely at how the space is being used. Notice what people are actually creating, and notice what they are simply buying.
Exactly. Whether you hear the heavy beat of a global pop song echoing from a bright pop-up store, or the raw sound of a guitar from one of the remaining underground clubs, the neighborhood is telling a story about what modern culture values.
The question is, how will you interpret it?
Well said. Thank you for joining us on this exploration.